We are live, coming here with a brand new Stir the Pod podcast show. I'm your host, Trevor, and tonight we are joined by Andy. Andy, how are you doing tonight?
What up, what up?
And we're also joined by Alex. Alex, how are you doing tonight?
Yo, yo, yo.
And we are here with a special Stir the Pod. You know, it's a Friday night special, 11:41 on the East Coast. We are here with the Legends Tour of Mr. Jordan Wiseley. So, I mean, this podcast, could be a little off the rails, could be out of control. I mean, I don't know, wherever it can be. But we're basically going to give the ups and downs of the career and the path of Jordan Wiseley. So, where should we begin, boys? I think we should start at the front of his career, which, correct me if I'm wrong, Rivals 2. Rivals 2 is the first introduction of when we got Mr. Jordan Wiseley onto the show, and I believe he was partners with Marlon, correct? Mm-hmm. Jordan and Marlon?
Yep.
So when you first saw Jordan, I mean, he was one of those guys where you saw him from the real world Portland, and what did we expect from him coming in? I know you guys both, I know you did for sure kind of watch Real World Portland. I know you big Johnny Riley fan, also me, but I don't think you watched it live. But what was your impression of seeing Jordan on the challenge? I'm always a big fan. That whole Portland cast is a very strong challenge cast, I think.
It's a very strong cast, and from the beginning, I think they were expected to be a good team, but I think they still exceeded expectations.
Absolutely.
Because of the way that format was for them to finish third place. And we'll get into all of this, but I think, Jordan and Marlon both had athletic backgrounds. They were rivals for a reason. They didn't get along on their real world season. But they were expected to be good challenge rookies, and I think they did that and a whole lot more.
Yeah, one thing I liked about them a lot, totally agree with what you're saying, but a lot of times, especially recently, when you get two people who are rivals or exes that we have no knowledge about if you just watch the challenge. Like, these guys were rivals just from Real World Portland. Sometimes that doesn't translate well into the challenge. With these guys, it did very well. And aside from just their success in Rivals 2, I also think we saw the first testament of Jordan being able to mend broken relationships very well. Because him and Marlon started off as rivals with very valid reasonings behind it. But by the end of it, they weren't at all. And I think that's a trend that I'm sure we'll talk about throughout this whole episode. But he came on the scene hot, and he's stayed hot ever since. So it was a great intro.
Looking at that team, I mean, you look at the teams that actually beat them in that season. I mean, you got, Frank and Johnny and CT and West. So, I mean, realistically, they put up a good fight. I mean, arguably the best fight you can possibly have in a season. I mean, you're against Wes and CT controlling the entire house. You're not going to beat. That's just a fact. Let's be real. Frank and Johnny, and I don't even want to say that was a rivalry, but it was very Twitter rivalry, MTV, whatever. But Jordan and Marlon was a true rivalry that they both hated each other in the house. I believe, didn't Jordan try getting him kicked out of the house in Portland? Wasn't it with Naya, him, and Marlon? Wasn't there a fight or something that happened, I think around episode 6 or 7?
I think so.
And try getting him kicked out. But, we're not here for that. We're just here for the Jordan Wiseley show. So, third place, opening season, very promising, I would say.
And what I think is the most interesting part about Jordan's rookie season is that at the time, we didn't really know who was going to be the future challenge star.
Exactly.
If it was going to be Jordan or Marlon. Because, we started the season, we got all our rookies, we got our returning vets, and Jordan and Marlon are both, promising rookies, and they make it to the final. They finish third place. They win a couple eliminations along the way, and they both perform pretty well, but you don't know, is it more Marlon or more Jordan? And so you're kind of looking forward to both of them coming back. And obviously the one that they kind of stuck around with was Jordan. But at the time, we didn't know that. And they were both both impressive rookies, and Jordan was the one that got the call back next season.
Well, and one thing you can't overlook is when you see Jordan as a rookie on this show and he has one hand, immediately it's like, all right, as good as he is or as athletic as he can be, he's got one hand. And we know this show, we know a lot of challenges require having very good grip strength, being able to climb, pull, whatever you want to point to. Having one hand, it's like, all right, this guy's going to be fighting an uphill battle the whole time, and he hasn't let it bother him.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of those guys. I mean, coming out of I feel like, very rookie-esque, coming out of that first season, even second season into free agents, he's one of those guys where you're not sure about. You like him, but he's like a dick or whatever. And then we'll get into it. After the free agents of the world, you start liking the guy more and more. So at this point, I don't know how you guys felt once Rivals 2 ended, and I don't know if you guys can even answer this, but how did you guys feel like with Jordan after? Like, yes, you knew he was good. Yes, you knew Marlon was good. But is that somebody you want to see back in, what was that, 2013, 14, whatever? Is that somebody you guys wanted to see? Because obviously, I think the move that made, and we'll kind of lead into it right here in the second season, the move that made Jordan was in free agents flipping all the cards over. I think that was the defining moment of Jordan's career. And realistically, that move to me solidified the next 5 challenges for him. If he doesn't do that move, he might not be back. So I don't know how you guys kind of felt, and if you guys want to kind of take over.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I don't think I necessarily had a big desire to see Jordan again after the first season, but I think you're right. Once the second season solidified him as that like cocky new guy, even though he was in his second season, he was still a new guy. But I mean, he was doing that against Bananas. He was like, I don't care who I'm going up against. I'll back myself against anyone, which is obviously never a smart move in the challenge. Multiple people have done it. Multiple people have failed. But nonetheless, like, to have that mindset is the mindset that I think does well in this show long term, because you want competitive people who want to get out there, who want to perform. And very early in his challenge career, he proved that was where his mind's at.
Yeah, I agree. I think the way the rookie season that Jordan had, it was kind of like, this guy's a really good challenger, great rookie season. We want to see him back. And to follow that up with the way that he went home on free agents, it would have been a little different if he was kind of sliding under the radar on free agents and then just like lost some random elimination. But like the fact that he went against the biggest name at the time, Bananas, and, flipping all the cards, going against him, sending himself in. At the end of that season, at the end of free agents, you were like, all right, he's here to stay. He's here to stay, even though the Bananas rivalry kind of faded out, which we'll get into, and we've gotten into before.
Wait, him and Bananas had a rivalry?
They had a rivalry. I think you left Rivals 2 being like, this guy is going to be a good challenger. He had a good rookie season. You leave free agents thinking, yeah, 100%. This guy's here to stay. He's born for the challenge. He's going to make a name for himself at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. So kind of leading into, like we already kind of talked about, free agents, Jordan kind of had that big ego, that big persona of him kind of being the biggest badass of the season. And realistically, you look back at that season and, in free agents, the top male is probably obviously Bananas. But besides that, there's really not who would you say at that time? Leroy? And he got hurt.
Or CT.
Was CT? Got lost to him. Yeah. So you probably have 2 guys, but realistically, like those 3-4 guys that you typically see, it's not there. You have the 2 guys, CT, Bananas, and Leroy got hurt. But, who's going to be that third guy? So Jordan making that move of flipping over all the cards, to me, that solidified his spot.
Yeah.
As being one of, and yes, he lost in an elimination where it was all, fist punching through the wall, climbing as fast as you can. Like, it is what it is. He lost, and he put all his chips in. Sometimes you go all in, you have double kings, and you lose on triple aces or whatever. So, 3 aces, versus 2
Yeah,
kings.
I was thinking more blackjack, but yeah.
Oh no, I was talking poker. But we'll relax. But yes. So we'll what else? What else we got about free agents?
I mean, free agents. His I think his run was fairly short, but again, he proved that he was there to not go along with the rest of the house. He was there to kind of stick up for himself. He had that little alliance that he formed with Johnny Riley from their Real World Portland season, and I think you go into X's 2 the next season, and at that point Jordan's a favorite, and of course they end up winning the whole season. Him and Sarah, excuse me. But I think at that point he had himself in a good position in the house. Like he was friends with Zach, he was friends with Johnny. He had kind of been boys with Leroy and CT, and he had played like a pretty good social game that season. And obviously it got him his first ring that season. What do you guys think?
Yeah, but going a little before that, one last thing about free agents. I think that people sleep on, and I don't know how you guys feel about this, but how about Jordan and Laurel at the time?
Yes.
I think people forget about that relationship.
People do
Very
forget about that.
Strong people coming together. I think she was really pissed how he didn't even say anything to her when he got eliminated. Like,
yeah, I think she was in tears.
Yeah, I think she was expecting like a kiss, a hug, whatever. And Jordan's just like, I guess more like
I'm out.
Adios. So what do you think about that relationship? I feel like that's a relationship people are like sleeping on.
I think this was definitely the first hinting of Jordan's tendency to do this, though.
But Jordan's never really gotten married or engaged or dated anybody from the challenge, right?
Oh, we will get into that.
So,
I mean, this was just the Laurel being the big badass that she thought she was, and seeing the new young buck, not part of the Young Bucks, bursting onto the scene and wanting to hitch her wagon to it.
Absolutely. So, leading into what Alex said with Battle of the X's 2, you're coming into that season, and him and Sarah got to be a top 3 team, top 2 team, arguably. I mean, them on paper, very strong team. And then you get later in the game, I think Jordan played a very good political game, maybe arguably his best political game to date. I think his best move for the cameras was sending Bananas in, even though that was the move to do, 100%. Him playing that up on the camera, no, don't do that, we're working together. It pushed all the blame
on
to Sarah, which is true. But flip side to everything, to get to that point, when did Bananas and Jordan become best friends in that scenario? Which I think is so.
Are we getting into that now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I just feel like that is something how, like, you look at the season literally right before that, free agents, they hate each other. Literally, Jordan threw himself in to eliminate Bananas. Next thing you know, they're just buddy on the entire season. They're like working together. So I don't know if you guys want to take it away to say something about it.
Yeah, we've probably mentioned this dynamic, I don't know, 17, 18 times on the pod before. The fact that Bananas and Jordan enter free agents as kind of rivals, and then it's amplified during the season. By the time the season's done, they hate each other. They're total rivals. And then the next season starts, X's 2. And it's kind of quiet for the first couple episodes, but you kind of assume that's just because the seasons are starting. There's not really any super drama to get into. And then once they kind of start talking about the Bananas Jordan relationship, it's all pretty positive.
Oh yeah,
they're all kind of friends with each other, and that's why I think we refer to it as one of the greatest mysteries in challenge history, because these guys just went from being total rivals to almost best friends in one season with nothing happening, in between, at least on camera, in between them.
It was crazy.
Well, and that was what I'd mentioned too earlier. It's essentially just like Jordan and Marlon. When Jordan first came on the season, they started as rivals. They did not finish as rivals, and that was just one season. So it would not surprise me if between the challenges, if Jordan was blowing Bananas up and saying, like, hey, there's no ill will or bad blood, like, I was just trying to take out a good competitor. You're the best there is. And then Bananas also respects the fact that Jordan is a very good young competitor and sees that as a benefit for him too. And it's like, I think Jordan just has a very good way of calming storms and then using that to his advantage.
Absolutely. Looking at in the comments, shout out Dabu being on right now. Nice little, 11:56 Eastern time being in the chat. Love to see it. He writes, or she writes, excuse me. Didn't he bang Joanna on Rivals too? Did he? I don't remember that.
Oh, Jordan did.
Yeah.
Jordan did?
Yeah, that was when he was like, "I'm the Great Gatsby." That's
said
what
that?
Jordan's pickup line was. He was like, She was like, "Oh, I like that you're mysterious," and he was. You don't remember that? Jordan was like, "Oh, I'm like
we
the
might
Great
have to
Gatsby."
we might have to pull that up.
And then people would make fun of Jordan, like Johnny, and then would make fun of Jordan afterwards
I don't
for
remember
saying
that.
that line.
I gotta pull that up. Rivals. I didn't watch Rivals 2 in a while. I don't
Because
even know
it was
last time.
Rivals 2 when Jordan had a little fling with Sarah.
Yeah,
early on.
that's when they
And
got
then like
Alexis
5
Smith.
episodes later, Sarah's
Yes.
gone, and then it was Johnette.
Really
Yeah.
interesting. We might have to look at the tape. For that.
Yeah, and I'm guessing if you rewind the tapes on X's too, when TJ's announcing all the partnerships,
Yes.
he says Jordan,
they
and they probably cut to Sarah and Johnette.
Was she on that season?
Oh, yeah. She was with
Was-
Zach.
Oh
Zach.
yeah.
They do that sometimes with
Yeah.
Nani. They flash like 6
Yeah,
different
Yeah.
guys.
Just
Johnny,
came
there's a
across
lot.
everywhere.
Of
They just
people
show
you
the whole
see from-
cast.
yeah.
Show a couple people back at home.
That's awesome. So we talked about free agents, him doing all the money. We got into Battle of the X's too. Battle of the X's 2, he goes on and wins. So 3 seasons in, he's made 2 finals with 1 ring. So on paper right now, he's looking pretty nice. I mean, realistically. The following season, you got Dirty 30, which Dirty 30 to me was probably the most anticipated season I've had watching the challenge live. I feel like they hyped up that season so much. Got to be one of the longest seasons. It felt like it was like almost 30 episodes.
That was the start of
the
yeah.
20 plus episodes. But he also wins that season, which people forget. The dude literally like broke his leg in the final. I mean, he skydived in and literally crashed. Won that season. Anything you want to talk about Dirty 30 with?
I mean, I think, not to skip too far ahead, but I think out of all of the rings that Jordan's won, I think 30-30 is the most impressive.
I would probably say so too.
Hmm.
I mean,
I
looking
think-
at the guy
his
cast.
one after this is very impressive too. But I think in the context of what it was, like you said, it was the most. I think MTV devoted more production budget into that one than they did in a lot of previous seasons. And they went all out for their 30th season, and Jordan had been gone for maybe 2 seasons because he wasn't on Bloodlines, wasn't on Rivals 3,
2 seasons.
wasn't on Invasion. I think he had a 3-season
Hangover.
absence, and the fact that he comes back, and if you look again at that cast for Dirty 30, guys wise,
Stats.
in an individual game, Jordan won that season, and Bananas did not win. CT, Leroy, Derek,
Josh.
no, not Josh.
Didn't he? Not Josh. Who's the
Hunter, Tony.
Yeah, it was the stat cast.
It was very stacked.
Who's the guy? Was it Brogan? Eliminated episode 1. He didn't make it up the mountain.
Yeah.
His hamstring.
That was
that Dirty
Bananas.
30?
Oh, that wasn't Dirty 30?
No.
Oh, the first episode for that was
Darrell was
was
purged
that
out.
the Cannons? Oh, Darrell was on.
Darrell was
yeah.
on that season.
So
Yeah.
all those seasons.
And
blended
so
together.
I think the fact that Jordan kind of came back, blended himself into this mix of like veterans that they were bringing back with people, Corey, Nelson, all those clowns, and he was able to last till the end and win it all. I think it was $1 million, maybe
Yeah.
$500,000 for each.
Which people forget, you literally watched the season finale and didn't know who won.
Yeah.
You had to watch a 2-part
Mhm.
reunion to find out who won.
I think Dirty 30 cemented Jordan's legacy as being one of the best challengers of all time.
Well, at that point,
I think
In
he
Dirty
won-
30?
Yeah, I think he wins his ring in X's 2, and you're like, yeah, this guy's really good. He's one of the best going in the game right now. He comes back, wins his second in a row that he did, all by himself, no team members to rely on, and it's like, all right, this guy has at this point 4 seasons, 2 rings, 3 finals. You gotta watch. Like this guy is,
and his elimination from free agents was, like we said, going
he
against.
threw himself in.
And if he wins that elimination, there's a good chance he wins that season.
Yeah, true.
So, dirty 30, like you said, impressive win. Then we go into War of the Worlds 2, which he takes some time off for as well, and he wins with Team UK. I believe he changed at one of the last minutes. And it's him, CT, D, and Rogan, which wasn't that surprising once you looked at the finals. Who were those teams against? Not really that surprising, but
that was still big CT though.
Yes,
that was big CT.
But still, but what impressed me about, like, when we look at his resume, Jordan's resume, he's won solo, he's won with a partner, and he's won in a team.
Yeah,
and I think at the end of the day, that is one of the best things you can possibly do. So,
well, yeah, agreed. But then you do think about the teams that he's been on, and I mean, he was with Sarah when he won his first partner.
Yes,
I mean, Sarah is
a good partner.
Top 3 girls that ever played the challenge.
Embrace debate right here.
She's definitely my top 3.
No, I don't think she's top 3. I don't think she's top 5.
If you don't think she's top 5, you don't know the challenge.
Cara Maria, Laurel. Fair? Is that 2?
Debatable. That's not set in stone at all.
I would take Cara Maria and Laurel over Sarah Rice.
Okay.
You won
Neither of those. There's no statistics to back those up concretely.
Wins for both
championships.
Yeah.
For both.
Yeah.
And what about seasons played though?
Okay.
I mean, Sarah's obviously
played the most.
That's
seasons.
still like my Kenny argument as well.
I would argue that Cara Maria and Laurel are for sure better players on paper than Sarah Rice. 100%. And Sarah Rice
on paper, there's an argument to be had both ways.
The puzzle queen, correct? Who lost to who did she lose in a puzzle?
Well,
Jasmine and Jonay.
Puzzle queen, I know, but we've talked about this. Now the puzzle queen title is being thrown out to anyone who completes one puzzle. Now, like Jimmy's the queen of puzzles these days. I mean, it's just stupid. Throw labels.
I don't think she can be top 3. I would see but it's hard for me because I think a person.
You said she wasn't top 5.
I don't think she is top 5
all time.
I mean, you got those 2 for sure.
Not even, no.
You don't agree with those 2?
No, I don't think she's top 5 all time.
Yeah, okay, you're with me.
All time?
Sarah Rice.
No, she's not. You want to take
Laurel, Emily, Evelyn, Cara.
Coral,
Veronica.
Coral, yeah, sorry. Emily. I would take Emily, and Emily's only played 4 seasons.
Wow.
Emily, dude, Sarah Rice has played, 7 seasons and has 2 wins? And 1 win, she didn't win anything.
$0.
MTV
First
literally
place,
showed
the
graphic. $0. Teresa is more. Thank you, Dabu.
Exactly. It's not just athleticism. It's everything.
No. Teresa.
But how's Teresa's political game? It's
terrible.
Dog shit.
But Teresa.
How is she when she has
agree.
to think?
I agree.
For 2 seconds.
I agree. But I think Teresa is more in the category with Sarah than Laurel is. I think Laurel's above that category. I think Teresa and Sarah are in the
So
same
you're putting
category.
Sarah in tier 2.
Yes. Absolutely.
That's...
Absolutely. No? You agree with me?
No, I agree.
Yes.
I think she's probably pretty
Yikes.
high on tier 2.
No,
I mean, she
yeah.
has 2 rings. She's very
Well,
good.
2
but
rings.
I think you guys
asterisk.
are sleeping on Sarah.
No. What does she have?
And regardless of if she wins or not, unless she's partnered with Biddleman from Mike, she is a threat in the game.
I'm not
Or Vinny. I mean, think about that. She was partnered with Fat Vinny and Biddleman.
Okay.
Those are 2 seasons that she cannot win.
Well, that's 2 days.
And that's not her own fault.
Well,
that's not her own fault.
Well, she shouldn't have drafted Vinny.
I don't disagree.
Okay, that's true.
But then she was partnered with Fat Vinny later on.
That
That's not, I mean, you could say she shouldn't have.
Yeah, exactly.
But nonetheless.
All right, this ain't the Sarah Rice show. That will be for another day. But let's be real. Sarah Rice is not in the top three. So moving on, what were we back to? War of the Worlds 2, that team, absolutely stacked. Team UK pulling out the dub. And then we get into, were you about to say something?
Well, are you going to go to the next season?
Yeah.
'Cause I was about to say, I know I just said that 30-30 was his most impressive season of all time.
Yeah.
I think now War of the Worlds 2 might be his most impressive season.
I don't know. I think
if you were to ask me
I
what
agree.
my one shining moment of Jordan Wiseley is, I'm either thinking of the flip the cards, which he lost, but I mean, still an iconic moment, or the fucking one-handed tug of war against Josh. That was this season.
Yeah.
Was it really?
That was War
in
of the
that
Worlds
season,
2.
everyone was
Everyone
against
him.
He had no numbers.
Everyone is against him. He had to win. He switched sides. He was a turncoat. Remember, they used that word for 14 episodes, only for Jordan to finally take advantage of it.
Let me go this route.
And then he wins.
Is it really that impressive to beat Josh?
If you were to
Yes.
ask that question, just to beat Josh, no.
In
But
a game
what
that
it was,
requires
absolutely.
grips.
Bless you. Bless you.
Ooh, thank you.
And what it was, I kind of want to watch that elimination again.
Oh,
One-handed, I think it was 2 out of 3. I think he won 2 straight sets. I don't
sounds
think
right.
Josh won. But I think both times Josh was close to pulling the string, and then, Jordan lets him think he has it, and then it was just fucking incredible. He beat Josh. He beat Theo before that. I think 2 elimination wins that season to win the final.
And,
again, all by himself.
kind of hinting at his last season losing in Total Madness, but we look at his elimination record too. 7-2. Pretty damn impressive. Arguably maybe the best percentage with more than 5 elimination appearances. Maybe the most impressive percentage. And a guy like him with one fucking hand, and how did he lose? He lost in a tug of war, right? In Total Madness. Wasn't it?
It was a pole wrestle.
That's what it was.
To Fezzi.
Yeah, with
he's
one
been
hand.
doing that at university.
Yeah, where do you play football at? University of Tennessee?
University of Tennessee.
University of Tennessee.
Fezzi
So SEC born, Fezzi definitely has the upper hand. There's no surprise that somebody like his caliber would win Chattanooga. So what is Dabu right here? Sarah shit the bed on Cutthroat final, only one with Bananas and Jordan. Anything you have to say with that?
This is the Jordan Legends Tour.
Okay. Sorry.
All I'm saying is the one person who knows the challenge the most, TJ Lavin, was asked in an interview by some of our friends if he were to pick a guy and a girl to compete, who would he pick? He said Johnny, and he said Sarah.
Okay. And why hasn't Sarah returned?
Because Johnny took the money and ran from her. What do you mean?
So
that's why she hasn't returned.
Zip them up.
All right.
Makes no sense.
So we've kind of recapped all of the past seasons of Mr. Jordan Wiseley.
Ooh.
So my first question is, where do you guys kind of rank him all time right now? Knowing that he might come back for a few more seasons, we'll get into that in my next question. But right now, he's 6 seasons, 3 rings, 4 finals. Very impressive resume. When you guys think Jordan Wiseley in the all-time challenge ranks, what do you think?
I would put him that top 5 range right now, just thinking off the top of my head, 4th. Realistically, if you're looking at the challenge and people that you remember, I think the top 3, as much as, some people think Kenny, some people think Evan or whatever in the world, when you think of the challenge, the top 3 people you think of, male competitors, is Banana, Wes, and CT. And I think those are the solid top 3.
Singular Banana?
Banana, not bananas, Banana. Johnny
Okay.
Banana. So those are the 3 people that I feel like
Agreed.
1, 2, and 3. Then after that is kind of, you can debate. You can embrace debate. So if you want to put a Jarrell 4th, you can argue that. If you want to put a Jordan 4th, I can see it. But I think the tier 1, if you think of the challenge as a whole, that brings the wins, the competitiveness, the
longevity,
the fighting, just everything to the show, I think CT, Wes, and Bananas do the best. I think they are a tier 1 competitor. Then you bring in the tier 2, which are the Jordans, the Derricks, I wouldn't even put Brad in that category. Landon's more of a, if Landon,
it's more the Darrell,
yes,
the Jordan.
yes,
I would throw Kenny in there.
yes, Evan in there.
Evan.
Yes. I think those are the guys kind of in that tier 2 that I would throw. It's just, I think the thing that hurts, and you kind of hinted at it earlier, is longevity. Like, realistically, you look at the Bananas, the West, the CTs, they've been on 15-plus seasons. These guys have been less than 7 seasons. So, if you give Jordan 8 more seasons, realistically, I guarantee he wins 2-3 rings at minimum.
Agreed.
But I think that's also an interesting line that you have to draw. Because Jordan, like if you were to say, oh, Jordan's only been on 6 seasons of the challenge, it's kind of surprising.
Yeah.
Because he makes such a name for himself and he's always going far in the seasons. Whereas like you think about the guys that we're comparing him to, I mean, Bananas has been in like 25 seasons,
Yeah.
CT 20, Wes over a dozen, like, and Jordan's been in 6.
Yeah.
But it's like every single time he's on, he's making a splash. He's making it far. He's making a final.
It's
like,
impressive.
He's doing
absolutely.
all of these things. And so his longevity is not there yet. I think we're kind of hoping that it will get to that point just so we can enjoy his resume being built even more. But I think it just shows that Jordan and what he's done so far is just very impressive.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I got to have him top 5.
Yeah.
I think you're right in the big 3, and then I think it becomes Jordan, Darrell, Kenny as my next 3. And
No, Evan?
no.
Okay.
As much as I hate to say it, I think within those 3, I think Kenny's number 3. Strictly
4.
because what?
Number 4. Like you said, West, Bananas. See, no order there.
No. Those are the top 3, and then of the next 3,
You would have Kenny last?
I think so.
Wow.
Because
I didn't expect that.
I know, but the problem is Jordan's making me do it.
Yeah.
Like the one thing that Kenny doesn't have, and it's a mix of MTV's fault and Tanya's fault, but it is longevity that he doesn't have. And it's like,
But
at some point in
realistically,
time,
how many more seasons does Kenny have? Like, don't they have the same number of seasons?
I think so, but that's why I would say, I mean,
I think Kenny did 7.
Jordan's career is still going.
Jordan's got less.
Yeah.
But he's
So-
still going to be on
and-
for minimum 3 more seasons.
And
You would imagine.
let's say one other thing, disclaimer. We don't count Champs vs. Pros, Champs vs. Stars. And I believe he was on Champs vs. Pros one of those seasons, right? He was on one of the 3,
He's on the first one, and he's on All Stars right now.
which I'm not watching.
All Stars 3. No spoilers.
Yes, no spoilers. So,
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough.
But now, looking forward to Jordan, do we think, he has 3 rings right now. Do we think he'll get a 4th at some point
Yes.
before he is done for good?
do you count?
I think it's so hard to predict
I think for him,
because of the way the challenge is operating right now.
To be honest, I don't know if he'll do another challenge. And that's what sucks. He's one of those competitors I want to see every season for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
But he's the type of guy that will be like, just give me the All-Stars, give me the Champs vs. Pros, give me something a little smaller where I don't have to waste
It's
2
very
months of my life or whatever.
It's very PGA Tour versus Live-esque. You can go to the Live and you can do All-Stars where you just show up for a cup of coffee, maybe make some money and you're out. Or PGA Tour the Challenge where you're committing. I mean, these days, they're probably filming for like 3 months.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, think about this. Every season now is 20-plus episodes. And
It's
like
stupid.
And realistically, how long do you guys think when you go from daily challenge, it's got to be daily challenge a day, elimination a day off, challenge again, elimination. So you got, or you think it's like daily challenge for a day, elimination that night?
No, I think it might even be elimination the next day.
That's what I'm saying. And then what do you
Yeah.
think the next day is? Day off?
Day off, probably.
And then daily challenge
So
again?
in 1 week, there's probably 2 episodes, maybe 2.5.
Yeah. I
And
think
you're
whatever
looking
the
at-
schedule we
so
see
that's-
is just an
That's 20 episodes. You're looking at 10 weeks. So
Yeah.
2 months, just over 2 months. And you got to quarantine
Maybe,
before all
maybe
this stuff.
3. Yeah, I don't know. It's
So-
so stupid.
Yeah, exactly. So realistically,
Yeah, that would be that right there. The commitment, the way the challenge is right now, that is the only reason why Jordan won't win a 4th ring.
that's what I'm saying. Because you look at Champs vs. Stars, they were saying in some of those interviews, that was filmed in 10 days, an entire season,
Yeah.
which is crazy to me. So, like, I can see, I mean, that's not that bad. with 10 days versus 70 days of being in a bunker or wherever the fuck you are. Like, so just off the top right here, do we think yes or no? No, I don't know. Yes or no? Does Jordan win a fourth ring?
Yes.
Challenge only. No champs for stars. No all stars. Challenge season.
I'm going to say yes. I think he's too much of a competitor. He's still in the mix in some fashion. I think he's going to want to go out with a fourth ring.
I agree with that. I think yes.
Yeah, I got to say yes. I think the number of seasons he's going to do going forward is still going to be very low, but he's so good and he's so efficient at them that he'll find a way.
So let me ask you this question. Over under 2.5 more seasons from him.
That's a good line.
I think I'm going under.
I think I am too.
I think I'm going under just because right now it's just so hard to predict. I mean, they have the Challenge USA show. They have all these all-star seasons. Like, I just don't know what the future of the show looks like.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I was literally thinking either 2 or 3 more seasons, and then you give me a 2.5 line. So for that reason, I'm always going to take the over.
I mean, he's still pretty young.
He is.
So there's a good chance that
because here's the thing.
He gets in his groove again and he stays around.
I think there's a bigger chance, aside from looking at 2 versus 3 more seasons, if you look at 1 versus 4, I'd say there's a bigger chance he goes to 4 seasons than he does for 1. But I also don't know. I don't know. The challenge is just running the flagship program into the ground right now.
Yeah.
So
I wouldn't blame him for doing 1 more. I don't know.
So one other thing I want to talk about Jordan, Total Madness, and Dabu kind of hinted at it in his comment or her comment, was what did you guys think Total Madness? I believe it was the first ever challenge proposal on the show between Tori and Jordan. Jordan obviously proposing after an elimination.
And War of the Worlds too.
And War of the Worlds too, excuse me, not Total Madness. Classic mix-up.
We haven't even talked about Tori yet.
Yep.
We'll get into it. We still got plenty of time. So talking about it right now, what did we think about the whole proposal thing? Was it for show? I mean, obviously they're broken up now. What do we hold? To be honest, I was all for that relationship. I liked both. I really like Tori. I think she can be kind of cocky at times, but that's Jordan. Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. So it's like it's like a perfect match. I feel like. So what do you think about Tori obviously getting engaged, then breaking up, and then Tori kind of all over the place? And I feel like they're kind of putting all their eggs in Tori's basket rather than Jordan. Now that could just be because Jordan doesn't want to be on the show, and that's fair. Like I understand. But what do you think about the whole situation?
Yeah, I think from a Tori and Jordan perspective, you have to first rewind it all the way back to when they met,
which was
when Tori was still dating Derrick Henry Heisman. And so, Jordan comes along and, I mean, Tori was just not faithful. We'll say that. And,
those are just facts.
We've seen it on camera. But, I mean, they seem to have a good connection. They're on the same seasons for a couple times. And then Jordan, like you said, he does – I think they showed it in the previews. We've never had this in challenge history, and it was Jordan getting on a knee and proposing. And sure enough, less than 2 full seasons afterwards, they're getting a divorce, or canceling their engagement. I think we all like Tori, we all like Jordan, but we were all excited for them to be together, but it just was, not meant to be. And
let me ask you this: were either of you surprised by them breaking it off?
Yes, I was surprised.
Were you?
I was kind of surprised.
I was surprised. Okay, I was more surprised how fast it was.
It was pretty fast.
Very fast. And I think it was more of and here's the thing, too. We also have to remember that challenge films, there's like 2 to 3 months before we actually see those episodes. So realistically, it was probably 4 or 5 months from that moment, and they broke it off. It was less than a year, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
Which was crazy to me. Because I thought, they're both kind of – I mean, you look at Tori, you kind of look at Jordan. They're both fucking weirdos. Let's be real. So I felt like it was a good match. And then, how much they said they loved each other and all that stuff. And it was just gone, 1, 2, 3. So I was a little surprised. I don't know how you felt, Alex. But yes.
I wasn't that surprised, personally.
Really?
Before you go, when I saw that, it didn't surprise me. I don't know if that's just the challenge relationship in general or knowing those two. Because, again, both of them are kind of loose cannons. So, when they did break it off, it was like, that sucks. I didn't want to see it, but I wasn't fully surprised. That's kind of where my head was at.
Yeah, I think my first reaction was, oh, I'm surprised because I thought those two actually liked each other and could have a future. And then, my next thought was, wait a second, this is the challenge.
Mm-hmm.
These things never last. So why should I be surprised when something doesn't last?
Absolutely. So,
What are we going to put the over-under on Zach and Jenna's relationship? Are we thinking over-under September of 23?
I'm going till death. I'm all in on that
I'm going
relationship.
under then.
I'm all in. They are fucking, first off, disclaimer, that relationship is a fucking shit show.
And
makes
you're
no
saying it's
sense.
so dead? Is she going to kill him? Is that how you're getting out of it?
But I just think it's smirk. Realistically, my house, I bought this. It's my house. Realistically,
Hey, Zach, it's me.
They do have a second kid on the way.
Stop it. They don't have
They
they have
do.
a first kid?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Wait, what?
You're lying, Sarah.
They have a
kid?
son.
They
Right
have a second one in the oven.
and his name is Tony.
Oh, get the fuck out.
His name is Anthony, and people were giving them all this
That's
shit
not real. That's
because
not
Jenna
real.
and
But I
Tony
thought it was
hooked up.
Vinny.
And Zach
I thought it was
wasn't
Vinny.
feeling-
On the plane, the finger blast.
No,
No,
Bruno.
that was Bruno.
Bruno, classic mix-up.
Bruno
Yeah,
Fernandes.
God, fuck PK. But
Where were we?
I will take the over to that September
Wow.
2023, even though who knows.
So,
But in
all
all
right,
seriousness,
real
can we
real
just
So back to
talk
Jordan.
real quick, one by one, all the girls Jordan's been with.
Oh God.
Start. from-
Wait, let's talk about the most fresh one. How about in
Naya,
Yeah, what the fuck?
Jordan, and Naya.
Yes.
You know what? That's another example of Jordan and a person
They
not
had-
getting along, and now they're hooking up.
So I'm not
she
a
groped him. She got kicked off the season.
I'm not watching Challenge All Stars this season, but I have seen the trailers, and yes, I know they are together right
They're
now,
hooking up in this
which
season.
is Banana Land.
Good for Jordan.
Which, yes,
Good
good,
for
for Jordan,
Naya.
good for Naya, good for both of them. Which is funny, same real world season, which is classic. And they fucking hated each other. She got kicked off the show because she groped him, like Andy said. And now
I think she said, "What? You don't have a dick?" and literally
and grabbed
grabbed
his dick. Yeah, exactly.
And now they're dating.
Bananas.
No,
Johnny.
Jordan.
No.
So I cannot believe that. So you got Naya, you got good old Sarah,
Yeah.
you got
John A.
John A,
Laurel.
you got Bananas,
Tori.
you got Tori.
Beyonce.
Am I crazy in thinking Nani might have slipped in there?
No, Nani.
I don't know.
Are you sure?
No,
I'm
you're thinking
half
of Johnny
joking,
Riley.
half
Yeah, you're thinking Johnny Riley with the dance and Rivals too. How could I forget?
Who else was with?
Can we get Johnny Riley back?
We might have.
We might have to
get
do a
Avery.
legend store. Emily?
Avery's-
Did he
Avery
hook up
looks
with
like she
Emily?
won a challenge.
Wait, did he hook up with Emily? Dabu just
Who?
wrote.
Jordan?
Yeah.
No. No,
Hey.
I think their chemistry from Rivals 2, they could have if
Possibly.
they kept
Possibly.
coming into the same challenge house.
God. Low key, Emily, number one. Emily over Sarah Rice. Absolutely. I'll stand by that statement until the day I die. Georgia? Did he hook up with Georgia?
No, that was Hunter.
That was Hunter, Dabu?
And
And
Bear.
Bear. And then
And
the
Bear.
scandal.
Probably
Wait,
more.
Bear and Georgia hooked up? So, anything else about the relationships anymore? I don't think so.
Pretty good lineup there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Very solid cast. So,
Jordan, final thoughts.
final thoughts on Jordan. Somebody I feel like we all want to see back for the next 5 seasons. Will it happen? Probably not. That's why we set the over under 2.5. I think Jordan, like we said, top 5 competitor, but to that range of 4 through 7 range. Tier 2 competitor. I'm always a big fan. Yes, he's an asshole. Yes, he's a dick. but he brings so much to the show, and that's why I like him. Andy, what do you think?
I love him. I love Jordan. I mean, when he came in, he was cocky. I was a little like, but anyone who's cocky but also backs it up, which he did in season 1, I'm a fan of. I mean, we've got some of these new kids on the block who are cocky and think that just because they might have played a collegiate sport at a school that nobody's heard of, that they're, the God's gift to the challenge, and then they go and quit in a final. Very different than someone who's cocky and backs it up. So I love Jordan. I think he's great for the show, and I want to see him until he gets very old.
Yeah, I think the only thing we didn't mention about Jordan was his progressively unattractive look
Yes.
and his appearances
I think
that he has.
I think you said he looked like a dog at one point. Right?
Yeah,
What was the dog
it
you
was,
said?
it was the terrier. But if you look at Jordan season to season, his facial hair and his hair combination looks worse and worse.
41, 45, 40. We got to clip that.
It looks worse and worse, but somehow Jordan rocks it.
Yeah, I mean,
He does, but the clean cut season 1 Jordan,
great look.
good looking dude.
Looks good, no homo.
Yeah, he looks
But
like a terrier.
literally, the terrier. I cannot believe you just said that out of your mouth. Anything else we should write about Jordan before we wrap this up? Like we said, I think top 5 competitor, that 4 to 6 range in between there.
He's
Tier
coming
2.
for the Mount Rush.
Coming for that Mount Rushmore. Give him a few more seasons, he's all in. So, any lasting remarks?
Love him. Go Jordan.
Should we
Come on the
give?
pod. Come on the pod.
Last
Absolutely.
dance.
Should we give him? It's so hard to think of ideas off the top of it, but should we give him a group MVP moment and a group LVP moment? Group MVP moment might be personally
It's got to be.
flipping the
It's
cards.
got to be the flip.
I agree with that. I think his one shining moment, even though he went home, flipping all those cards over.
Yeah.
I think that solidified him as being
Welcome to the challenge.
Exactly. Like, even though he lost, it was a move that solidified him as, I'm here to stay and I'm not fucking around. Which regardless of who you are, the balls to do that against a 4-time challenge champ at the time, fair play to you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my MVP moment. LVP moment.
That's tricky.
Maybe hooking up with John.
I think
John A.
honestly,
had some flashes.
I think honestly, LVP moment would have to be all of Total Madness.
Yes.
He didn't seem like he was there. He didn't
Yes.
seem like he was.
I
checked in,
agree
which
with
is
that.
like understandable because he had just won and he had.
I think it was the
They
hype
had been doing.
too. Like,
Yeah,
with
I
Jordan.
was not expecting him to win. Even though he was such a good challenger, it's just so hard to win back to back.
I also think another LVP thing is how Total Madness was his last season. And that
Or
hurts.
proposing to Tori.
Yeah, kind of that breakup kind of sucks. But
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just me. So, anything else, or should we wrap this up?
Let's wrap her
Let's
up.
wrap it up.
Wrap it up. Well, thank you guys. Like we said, Jordan, top 5 person, probably that 4 to 6 range. Top 5, but 6. But thank you guys for listening to a brand new Stir the Pod podcast show. If you like the Legends Tour, let us know. We love talking about new competitors every week. W writes right before LVP proposing to Tori, who banged Fezzi after kicking his ass on Total Madness. Very true. People forget about that. But like we said, let us know what you guys want. We are going to keep this up over the offseason. Probably every 2 weeks we'll be getting out a podcast. So we'll play by
get
ear.
into that.
So thank you guys. Love you guys. Shout out Duffy. Bye-bye.